Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Today with school starting up, I thought I would make a little video about some of my best tips for surviving school, high school, and honestly just life as a student and as a teenage human being. So first off, I want to give a huge shout out to the comment that Pan Axolotl made, because this is just genuinely one of the sweetest things I've ever received, and I want you all to know I will be thinking about this comment for like the next 3 months. So yeah. Without further ado, this will be a little bit of a long video, but I did finally figure out how to add in like chapters to my videos. However, I highly recommend staying and watching the whole thing because I think the tips at the end are the most important. So yeah. So let's get into it. High school, we all know, super busy time. You're learning to drive, you're becoming an adult, you're getting ready to go off to college or live on your own or whatever you want to do. You're doing all of the prep work to get into your college, your career. You're taking the SATs, you're taking AP exams, you're somehow trying to manage a social life, go to prom, not die, all that stuff. So it is possible to do this without, burning yourself out, but you have to do it right. So here are some tips that I have. First off, for school, be known as the good kid. You would be shocked how much good kids can get away with. Remember, Hermione from Harry Potter got away with keeping a reporter as a beetle in a jar because she was a good kid. You will get away with so much stuff if people think that you're the good kid. Small things will be a lot easier to let slide than if you have a reputation for not being a very disciplined student. Treat your planner or whatever organization system you use like an altar. Find your organization system, experiment, play around. When you find something that works for you, stick to it. If it's writing your to-do list by hand, if it's using Notion, whatever it is, use it, because even if you think you remember everything, something will happen. You will forget. Having it down takes a load off of your brain and your stress levels, and also it's just better, trust me. Stay far away from drama. Some people are honestly just drama, and you don't want that in your life. You are the compilation of people that you spend your time with. So make sure you stay away from drama because it's not going to do anything good. It's just going to bring you down. Take notes. Even if you, again, remember everything, spoiler alert, you don't. Having notes is super helpful, especially when you have final exams, because you're looking at stuff in May that you haven't seen since September. Having it written down is super helpful. I have a way that I take notes that's both really aesthetic and pretty easy to do, so let me know if you want that video. It also helps you learn to write fast. It'll help you in college with lectures. It's just all around better. Plus, you make sure that you're not letting the information go in one ear and out the other. You're actually actively paying attention. Obviously, you can take notes on a computer, by hand, whatever works best for you, but I highly recommend taking them. Be realistic about what you can and cannot do. Especially if you are chronically ill or neurodivergent, be realistic. Even if you're just a normal human being, you cannot do everything. You have to prioritize, and part of that is being realistic about your limits. It is also okay to say, hey, my limits are less than most people, because I guarantee you most people are not doing as much as you think they are. Either that, or they're just not sleeping. So don't be like that, please. If you think you have a problem, especially a health problem, get it checked out ASAP. It is better that you get it checked out freshman year than you be in the middle of your college apps and then have to deal with it. Trust me. Obviously, stuff comes up and you can't control that, but get your stuff figured out as fast as you can, because it will help you way more in the long run, and you usually will need a diagnosis to apply for accommodations. Plus, it just helps you understand yourself better. Talk to your teachers. If something happens, you have a bad day, you're having a bad year, you're hitting rock bottom, you just can't do things, you're having internet issues at home, you're having literally anything, talk to your teachers. You want to build relationships with your teachers because, like it or not, teachers are the authority figure, and if you have some of them in your corner, it is way easier if anything should ever potentially arise. Find the teachers who understand you. On that note, if you are neurodivergent, look for the neurodivergent teachers. If you really like a specific subject, go for the teachers who like that specific subject as well. Find teachers who you naturally click with. It is okay if you're not best friends with every teacher, but you should definitely try to find a couple that you really vibe with. Build your teacher connections early. It is not too early to start thinking in freshman year who you would potentially get your rec letters from. It will likely change over time, but putting in that effort to build relationships is, again, super helpful. You will need recommendations if you want to get into an honor society or an internship or whatever. Plus, this goes double if you're going to have this teacher for a couple of years. That way you can build the relationship more naturally. So something like, like an orchestra teacher, an elective teacher, a foreign language teacher, whatever. Plus, TA positions are super helpful. Aim for all A's. It's okay if you don't get all A's. It's okay if you get a B. I'm not telling you are a failure at life or anything like that, but aim as high as you can and don't settle. Remember, the most valuable thing you can have is yourself. If you have health issues, again, tell your teachers. Even if you don't have a 504, it will help teachers understand you, and if you tell them, then they know. They can't cut you slack if they don't know what's going on. If there is something going on in your life outside of school at all, ups and downs, whatever, tell your teachers, especially the teachers that you are closer to. It can help you connect with them. So, for example, I told my psych teacher about training my service dog, and she has a therapy dog, so she really helped me and gave me a bunch of tips for passing a CGC and things like that. If there is dog, on this note, if there's a therapy dog, not a service dog, therapy dog. If your teacher has a therapy dog, there is dog, and you like dog, pet dog, be friends with dog. Very important. The teacher will like you, everyone will be jealous of you, okay? Plus, you will show that teacher that you're a good person because animals naturally like good people. Now, my psych teacher who had the therapy dog, I'm her dog's best friend. Everybody wishes the dog liked them as much as they liked me. I'm mostly kidding, but you know what? I'm just better like that. I'm the dog whisperer. The dog liked me. We have, the bond. We have the vibe. Anyways, your freshman GPA is important because your freshman year is likely going to be the easiest year. So do not drop your GPA freshman year because that is really hard to build up. Some people do take really hard classes freshman year. For example, I took honors pre-calc and AP US history freshman year. But here's the thing. There's less stuff going on that's complicating your life. Those were my only 2 hard classes. I did get a B in honors pre-calc first semester after trying really, really hard, and I'm still a little bit upset about that. But I tried, and that is what matters. And also I got a 5 on Calc BC, so I'm okay with it. If you have extra time after you finish your classwork, do not pull out your phone. Pull out your homework first. Pull out your extracurricular work after. That way you have less to do when you get home, so that if you're tired, you can just crash without saying, oh my god, I have 18,000 hours of homework, oh my god, what am I gonna do? It's easy to maximize those 20-minute or even 10-minute dead zones to be way more productive. Create a resume early because you're not going to remember all of the stuff that you're doing. You're going to want it for your college apps, you're going to want it for any interview, any job applications, any internships, stuff like that. It's really helpful to know. It doesn't have to be a formal resume and cover letter. It can just be a list of all of the things you've done and any of your major accomplishments. Have healthy snacks ready when you're studying. Personally, I love tea. If you like tea, that's good for you. I would advise against having a stack of Red Bulls on hand just because they're not the best for your body. But make sure you have snacks and water on hand because it is very easy to have 6 hours of homework one day and then just completely forget to eat, especially if you're neurodivergent. Make time for yourself. It is better that you make time for yourself, okay? Even if it's just 15 minutes twice a week. Otherwise, you will burn out or hit rock bottom, and you don't want to do that, trust me. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Communicate with your teachers, people. Okay, if you beef with a teacher, that is fine. You can beef with a teacher. I recommend that you do your best not to beef with a teacher, but if you beef with a teacher, we all beef with a teacher. You know, some teachers should not be teaching, that's okay. But if you beef with a teacher, I don't care if they're not your teacher, never will be your teacher, never have been your teacher, whatever. Do not beef with a teacher in front of their earshot. And be careful who you beef about that teacher to. Other teachers will be like, yeah, that teacher sucks, but be careful. Always stay neutral around, especially a teacher, until they've given you their opinion. Also, you never know. Teachers have power, and you do not want to get on the bad side of a teacher, even if the teacher sucks. So be careful who you're beefing with the teacher or raging on the teacher in front of. Finally, it is okay to wait on stuff. Please, you don't have to get your license this minute you're old enough. It is okay to wait until you have the bandwidth to handle it. I could have had my license for a little while. I still don't have it because I just didn't have the bandwidth. Same thing with dating. It is okay not to date someone in high school, even if you want to, you don't find the right person, that is okay. The majority of high school relationships are not going to work out, and while they will teach you stuff, you're not going to be missing out on anything invaluable if you don't date in high school. I promise. Now, social. Talk to your friends. Even if you have a really busy day, if you have good friends, you want to talk to them. Okay? This will be one of the things that gives you energy. You can talk to them about homework if you want, but you need to socialize. You cannot isolate yourself. Also, 2 good friends beats a huge circle of friends that are going to turn their back on you and gossip. And if a friend is loyal to you, be loyal to them. It is okay not to take side in between drama with your 2 friends, but stick by the friends that have stuck by you. Also, make friends during welcome week and orientation. Everybody is new. I met one of my personal best friends because we were partnered during an orientation scavenger hunt. That was several years ago. We're still friends. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find another room. Make sure your friends motivate and uplift you, not drag you down. Do not let people tell you not to become a better person or to study hard. Like I said, the best thing you have, the most expensive thing you have, the one thing that if you lose you can never get back is yourself. If you're friends with a teacher's kid, that's good. You have an adult in your corner now. Especially if you actually know the parent. You can get some privileges with that. I'm not saying to use a friend just because they're a teacher's kid, but if you have one, it can be helpful. So there's that. If your friend is going through something, do some basic research about it, especially if it's something like a health issue or a diagnosis. You don't need to know the intricacies of it, but 1, make sure you're listening to their experience, and 2, just kind of know some of the basic stuff. You know, like if your friend is getting diagnosed with POTS, you know, you might want to know that it causes high heart rate and that people with POTS need a lot of salts and stuff. Obviously, it does not compare to their experience, but it will make you a better, a more thoughtful friend. Make older friends, like a year or 2 older. Trust me. This is one of the best things I did. I had a sophomore literally adopt me as a freshman and be like, guess what? I'm giving you tips now. And I was like, okay, this is great. I'm still her friend, like several years later. These will be your mentors, basically. They will give you help on the SAT or the ACT. They will help you with your classes because they've probably taken them. They are invaluable, especially with college app advice, because they will be going through it before you do. And they are a recent source, so things change so fast, but they will be very, very helpful. They can give you all of the details on the teachers, on the counselors, on how to do things. Trust me, they're school specific, and especially if you're like you can also get involved with their clubs and stuff, and they may give you a position of like officership or leadership, which is helpful. Make study FaceTime calls or study together. Body doubling is very helpful, especially for neurodivergent people. This one is one of my biggest ones. Time lapse on your phone while studying, because you can't use your phone and it looks super aesthetic when you're done with it. Skip what you don't need and don't stress about it. This can go for anything. If you're confident in your quiz, there's no need to review. Spend the time studying for something else that you need to practice instead. There will not be a difference on your transcript between a 99 and a 97, but there will be between a 91 and an 89. And trust me, if you wind up with an 89, you're really gonna wish that you had had that 90. Also, I know that's like more of a study tip, but that's okay. My categories are a little bit jumbled. I'm reading off of a document just so that I don't forget or repeat things. But anyways, studying and motivation. Use the Pomodoro timer, especially if you're low on motivation. This is short blocks followed by short breaks. So 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes break, 50 minutes of work, 10 minutes break, or my personal favorite, which is 33 minutes of work and 7 minutes of break, which I know is a little bit weird, but it adds up to 40 minutes, okay? If you use a random non-academic page for research, like you use like Reddit, you use whatever, been there, done that, you know? Back it up. Wikipedia gives academic sources and stuff, and if worse comes to worse and you're like, oh my god, this is the only thing I have, you know, this seems pretty credible, whatever, Britannica. Just cite Britannica, because they will likely have some sort of page in there about it. Britannica's great. Your teachers won't like you citing Wikipedia, but the sources within Wikipedia are fair game, and they're all scholarly sources. Also, if you see something on a Reddit page, do not take that as fact. Look it up. Use your critical thinking skills and make sure that it actually makes sense, or else you're going to wind up with a lot of misinformation. For citations, EasyBib. EasyBib is amazing. It's really fast. You can just paste in the link. That'll work for MLA format, APA format, etc. So that'll work for both the psychology class, any AP class, you know, whatever. Aesthetics are super motivating. You don't need to completely follow an aesthetic, but they can be very inspiring. So go to Pinterest and search up study aesthetics. Personally, my favorite is dark academia, but obviously that's kind of a personal thing. So find something motivating to you and try to set your scene and your desk accordingly. Again, prioritize. If you can only do one assignment, be strategic. Which one will help your grades or learning the most? I definitely don't recommend doing this all the time, but if you're really overwhelmed, it is okay to skip an assignment. Just don't skip ones that are major grades. It's better to skip ungraded ones, but if it's just completion, do it as quickly as possible. You can just fill it out, or pick something that's tedious and isn't many points. If something is a completion grade, you can either make your handwriting really bad, but still relatively legible so it looks kind of like words, or just start yapping around the topic. It's okay if it's wrong. Pick something to do that will teach you something you need to know or is worth a lot of points and will boost your grade. Remember, pick which class you're doing it for strategically as well. Now, with this in mind, don't skip your math homework. You need your math homework to understand the concepts. Unless you already understand the concept and are ready for the test, don't skip the homework, especially in higher level math classes. Yes, they will give you an answer key. No, you should not be skipping it, because in class you only have so much time to do so many practice problems. At home, you're reinforcing what you know, and trust me, otherwise you're going to show up being like, what's this material? Math builds on itself. Do the homework. You will want the practice. Active recall. Active recall is so helpful, I swear. It makes sure that your brain actually knows and is not just passively taking things in by reading. Active recall is things like flashcards, trying to explain it out loud to someone else, which is something that I definitely recommend. Explain it to your pet. Your pet will probably just look at you like, what? Okay, Spanish Inquisition, can I have snack? That is okay. That is okay, guys. Have music that you only use for studying. So for me, my favorites are Louisette, something like that, on YouTube and Apple Music and Spotify, who does lo-fi like Taylor Swift stuff. among other artists. And then my other favorite is the Lo-Fi Sabine's Loft Cat on Disney+. That wound up as my go-to for A-Push freshman year. I cannot tell you how many DBQs and LEQs I wrote to the sound of that music. But whatever. I still use that, by the way. Okay, health. Don't force yourself to do typical high school things if you don't want to. People will probably argue with me about this, like, oh, just go to a party, go to prom. No. It is okay to do an alternative event. Make sure that you are still doing the things that you want to do, but if you hate parties, it is okay not to go. Keep your mental and your physical health up. It is okay to skip school when necessary. Don't make it a habit. But if it's necessary, especially if you're chronically ill. Learn your needs. Learn what you need to function and not function. For example, learn what your precursor symptoms are if you have migraines. The more notice you can give yourself and everybody else, the better. Keep Advil or Tylenol in your bag. Whatever works better for you. I recommend keeping both, honestly. I always have Advil and usually a couple Tylenol in my bag because they're lifesavers. Liquid Motrin does work faster, by the way. That's not as easy to carry around, but if you have a migraine, if you need it, it's better, I swear. Always keep a pad on you. If you get periods, even if you're not on your period, you don't know who needs a pad. Also, your period can sometimes just start like that, like it's wild. If you're a guy, all your girl friends, not like your girlfriends, but like any female friends you have, will love you for it. Also, you can be friends with people of the opposite gender. It's fine. Trust me. You do not want to limit like your potential friends to only like half of what it could be. And yes, I know there are non-binary people, but non-binary people, you tend to be a little bit better at it anyways, versus some like cis hetero people who are like really like, oh, but I don't want to be friends with a boy. Get over it. If you are like me, you know, if you have dysautonomia, whatever, POTS, put your legs up if your legs hurt or your heart is racing. It will help so much. Also, you can use your bag or your books as a makeshift weighted blanket for makeshift deep pressure therapy. If you have sensory issues, AirPods are your best friend. The noise canceling, amazing. You can't hear your heartbeat, which is really helpful. If you tend to get overwhelmed, especially with pep rallies suck, I hate them, we all hate them, get a flash pass. You may not need a 504 for it, it's kind of a separate thing. Extracurriculars. Try to lead or create something. It shows initiative for colleges, so it's super helpful. If you're in an instrument or something like that, make sure you have a friend. You should have a friend in every single class because you don't want to be like, oh my god, when's the assignment due? I don't know. And then either have to email a teacher at 2 in the morning or just pray really hard. But it's doubly important if you're in like an instrument or something. Same thing with theater. That way, if you don't show up to rehearsal for whatever reason, you're not fully screwed because you can just text a friend. Even if you aren't planning to go to college, try to have a couple of things on your resume because it's better to, if you change your mind and be like, I want to go to college, even if you are most likely sure that you don't, it's good to have that just in case. Plus with a potential career, it can look good. If you turn your hobby into a passion project, and I know passion projects are really popular for college admissions, but if you do that, be very careful. You don't want to lose your passion because it became a project. For example, for me with sewing, I had to take a step back for almost 2 years because of 1, health issues, and 2, I just made it into something that I had to do instead of liking to do. I tried to make it into a passion project, and quite frankly, it's just a hobby. I can't do it. On that note, have one thing that is not related to anything quote-unquote productive that you do. Nothing not related to a club you're in, not related to school, not related to a passion project. Something that you just genuinely like to do. General tips. Dress nicely. Find your style. You don't have to wear sweatpants and sweatshirts every day. A lot of people do, but if you don't like them, I personally hate them because of sensory issues. Wear whatever you want to wear. This is high school, everyone is half asleep. Nobody is judging for your outfit, and you will actually get a lot of compliments if you dress differently. one of the friends that I made because she complimented my earrings, and then we struck up a friendship. So, you know, it's okay to be different from other people. Wake up early. You don't want to be rushing out the door, trust me. If something happens, you would rather have 10 minutes. Now, I personally kind of fell off of this one, and I really, really suck at it now, especially with my health issues getting worse. But in freshman year, I woke up at like 5:30, and it was honestly amazing. There was even one time that I woke up at like 4:45, and I cranked out like half of an A-push practice exam before school started, but that's a different story. Anyways, you will change a lot in high school, and that is okay. When I entered high school, I thought I was going to go to a fashion school. I thought I was going to be doing a fashion class for all 4 years, etc. Now, fashion is not even like in my career plans. I didn't even know that I was going to get into psychology, and now I'm planning to either major or minor in it. On a related note, you don't need to know your major freshman year. Knowing your field of interest, especially when you get into like your sophomore or junior year, helpful. But you don't need to have your entire career path planned out once you step into high school. People change, your interests will change. You will find new things that you love and realize that you don't love some things as much as you thought you did. On that note, plan stuff out, that's great. Sometimes your plans change and you have to be okay with that. Also, you never know who you'll recruit or who will recruit you. For example, this is going to sound a little weird, but for example, I randomly got my sophomore friend, so the friend that I was talking about, who basically adopted me as her freshman. I got her phone number on the last day of the school year, and I was really nervous to ask for it because she was a little bit older than me, and I thought she was like so cool and like whatever. I'm so grateful I did, because one, she got me through like all of the physics part of calculus because I hadn't taken physics yet. Two, she also invited me onto her nonprofit, and we ran the nonprofit together because basically she was like, hey, do you want to be like a program director? And I was like, okay, sure. And I was like, I have some ideas. And she was like, okay, cool, let's hear them. So I gave her my ideas, and she was like, you know what? You can run it with me. And I was like, sweet. And so that happens sometimes, Be nice to people. You don't want to be known as someone who causes drama, and honestly, in high school, sometimes people are petty, so just be nice to people. You don't know who's having a bad day. Sometimes a really simple act of kindness can lift people's days up. Get used to spending time studying and taking hard classes in freshman year. In middle school, you don't have to do that quite as much, but get used to it in freshman year because it gets harder from there. Building good study habits is super important. Keep up your hobbies, even if it's not that much. It will stop you from hitting rock bottom. Pick the right friends and do not force yourself to stay with your old ones. Find people who will basically match your freak. It's also really helpful to find people in your classes. If you don't do a sport, which I know a lot of us don't, make sure you're doing some form of exercise, even if it's just walking your dog. You don't want to lead a completely sedentary lifestyle. Manage your health. Again, you are going to be an adult soon, so make sure that you are starting to, make sure you know the names of your doctors, you know what medications you're taking, if you're taking any, things like that. On that note, learn to do basic adulting tasks. Make sure you know how to go into a store and buy something, which sounds silly, I know, but if you have social anxiety, you might want to practice it. If you have a pet that you're taking to college, make sure you know their stuff for vet stuff. Make sure you can do your laundry, you can clean a bathroom, you can clean a kitchen. You don't need to be doing it every weekend, but make sure you know how to do it, especially, because you're going to be living on your own soon. Read a lot. Read as much as you can, especially if you like reading. I love reading. I love fantasy. Fantasy books are the best. That's not what I'm here to talk about, but reading is so helpful because it helps you broaden your horizons, and it'll help you a lot on the SAT and the vocabulary stuff. Trust me. Drink as much water as you can. I cannot tell you how many things are due to dehydration. Not everything is due to dehydration, obviously, but a lot of things are. So, make sure you drink water. Being hydrated, very good. Like I was saying earlier, develop your own sense of style. I personally recommend wearing the same jewelry or having like the same few outfits on rotation to reduce decisions, especially if you have limited energy. Another thing you could do is have like a few tops, a few bottoms that you can mix and match. Personally, I always wear skirts and I just love doing it. I subscribe heavily to the look good, feel good. So if you feel good in your outfit and you look good in your outfit, you will have a better day. Learn and study basic things. Even if it's not your major, just learn things. If you're interested in ancient Roman mythology, look into it. If you're interested in, like me, in complex analysis, look into it. This is a time to learn things. Your brain is still developing, still expanding. Expand it. Keep up to date on the news. You do not have to read every single article CNN comes out with, but try to keep up with some of the major headlines. If there's a presidential election, know who's running for president, stuff like that. And finally, and this is probably my most important tip for all of you guys, don't try to grow up too fast. Enjoy your last few years of being a child. That is all for this video, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you want any more specific tips, you want like a study tips video, anything like that. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one, so thank you.